new head coach, Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, he uses some choice words every day towards me, but he's tough, and I love him. He's awesome. It's been great being around him. We're just, building this bond and relationship to be able to last a while. And I know Bears fans, it's year after year typically, or every other year, where, coaches and quarterbacks specifically are in and out, and our goal is to be here for a while.
What do we make of that, Mike T? When you hear him say those things, coach has choice words, all that kind of stuff, what are you hearing there?
Progress. And look, well played is better than well said, and he's going to have to play a lot better. And look, Ben Johnson led the NFL last year in snaps under center for the quarterback. Great stat by Hembo. And that's something that if Caleb Williams could do a better job, guys, we're going to see that 68 sacks, which was the worst in the NFL, get cut dramatically, maybe in half. So the fact that he's saying those things is really encouraging. Hopefully last year, not only did he learn on the field, but off the field, and he sounds humbled there.
Nate, I was having a conversation with someone off the air the other day. That division, I could see anything happening. There's nothing that might happen in that division that that could wind up being the case that I would say, oh, wow, I'm stunned by that. So what would you say? I like the question on the screen. What would you say would be a good year for Caleb and the Bears?
Yeah, I think this team does have the potential to win the division, but more importantly, I think that they'll make the playoffs. I think that this team is really good, really talented. How good they are is going to depend on how well they execute, but the way that Ben Johnson's offense was designed in Detroit relied heavily on the running attack, and they have the offensive line in the backfield to be able to take a ton of pressure off of this quarterback. And I think if you take the pressure off of Caleb, he'll be less likely to try to make the hero plays that end up in sacks, and he'll be able to make the magical plays that we know he's capable of when they need it to happen. And not to mention how talented that defense is. I assume with some more offensive support, that defense will be even better. So I think this team is going to be really good as long as as long as Ben Johnson is able to do with Jared Goff what he wants to do with Caleb Williams.
What do you think?
I love that Ben Johnson is challenging Caleb Williams. He needs somebody to challenge him because there's so much talent there that it's up to the head coach to bring it out of him. This is why they hired Ben Johnson, why they targeted him and made him the biggest priority coaching hire out there, is to elevate the play of Caleb Williams, who has all the talent in the world. He doesn't need somebody to be his friend. He needs somebody to harness that talent, to bring it at him, to make sure that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, which he has the potential to be.
Fair enough. I agree with all of that. And here's what I will say. I'm going to put this on the coach, too. Great coaching is not walking in with a great system and saying, here, you're a talented player, come do what my offense is. Great coaching is creating an offense that takes advantage of the skill set of the player. So I get it, that his offense in Detroit involved a lot of the play action or whatever else it is. Maybe it will continue to, maybe Caleb will major in that. But he also has a very obvious set of skills that a great coach, like Ben Johnson, everyone tells me is going to find a way to take advantage of. You don't just take that square peg and fit it into your round hole, no matter what it is.
Yeah, Greedy, there's a little bit of a nuance here. I work with Ben Johnson in Miami. He has great attention to detail, and he's all about the fundamentals. And look, Caleb Williams has a very unique skill set, and there's no doubt, knowing Ben Johnson, he will maximize those abilities, but it does start with fundamentals. It starts with really good footwork, and again, as long as Caleb Williams keeps making progress, that's going to be the key here. It's not going to happen overnight, and I have no doubt this will meld into an offense that is somewhat similar but somewhat differentiated than Detroit. But the key is going to be early on in September, are the sacks and turnovers reduced for Caleb Williams.
That feels to me, Dominique, like an important point to make here. Which is you're not running the Lions offense because you don't have the Lions players and you don't have the Lions quarterback. So let's see what this offense actually does look like.
Yeah, but I do think that's a good starting place. I think you're right. You have to be able to adapt to what Caleb Williams can do. But the thing about Caleb Williams is he can really do everything. That's why we were so excited about him as a prospect when he was coming in. I think the most difficult thing you're going to have to do is be able to coach him into knowing when to throw caution to the wind and try to make those miracle hero ball plays, and knowing when it's okay to throw it away and avoid taking the sack, and it's okay to punt the ball. So I think that's the hardest part, is getting Caleb to understand that he can't be Superman on every play, and I think that comes with making it easier for him. Understanding that the offense can move the ball, the running, they can move the ball without putting a bunch of pressure on him, and that defense isn't going to leave him hanging out to dry.
And there's still some question about left tackle for the Chicago Bears, but the rest of the offense, has a lot of talent everywhere across the ball. The skill positions are really strong. Good talent in the backfield, good talent at wide receiver. They drafted the Michigan tight end Colston Loveland in round 1. And again, I know it's obvious, but Caleb Williams came out in one of the great quarterback draft classes. He was the first pick in a draft chock full of quarterbacks. That tells you how good he can be.
Okay, let's leave that one there. That's a quarterback at the beginning of his career. Let's talk about one much closer to the end. This week on McAfee, Aaron Rodgers opened up about his 21st NFL season potentially being his last.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. You know, that's why we just did a one-year deal. Steelers didn't need to, you know, put any extra years on that or anything. So, you know, this was really about finishing with a lot of love and fun and peace for the career that I've had. I mean, I played 20 freaking years. It's been a long run. I've enjoyed it, and when this is done, I'm done, and you won't see me, and I'm looking forward to that. But while I'm in it, and then for this year, I'm going to give the Steelers everything that I got, and empty the tank, and be super comfortable and satisfied with whatever happens.
All right, so as always with Aaron, there's so much to unpack there. But I want to start with the love and fun and peace part, Nick, because you're a player, and the guys yesterday opened my eyes to this. Like Bart Scott and Andrew Hawkins were here yesterday, Hawk, and they were saying, I was saying, what is that? He's coming back to try and win. Why would you come back if not to try and win? And they were telling me, players, the idea of trying to sort of end it on your own terms can be very important, particularly for a guy like Rodgers who's been at it so long. So love and fun and peace, of which he probably had none the last 2 years with everything that happened with the Jets. What is your, when you hear him say that, how do you assess his mindset going into the season?
Love and fun and peace is just euphemisms for winning. Like, nobody loves you when you lose. It ain't no fun when you're getting your ass kicked, and you certainly don't have any peace when you're down by 30. Like, that's what it boils down to. I think we all would love to walk away under our own terms. It's going to be really hard to walk away on your own terms if he does have all that love and fun and peace, because that means he's going to be really successful and have a good year. Rarely do players want to walk away like that, which is why we think about John Elway ending on the top, and even Peyton Manning, who ended with the Super Bowl win. That season wasn't very loving or peaceful for him or his body, so it's a really hard thing to have in that situation. I expect Aaron Rodgers to play much better and play well in that organization, and I'm not so sure that he's going to walk away at the end of it the way that he says he will right now. I'm sure he means it now, but let's say they haul off and have a good season, they make a deep run and don't win the Super Bowl. It's going to be really hard for Aaron Rodgers just to disappear into the sunset.
Love and peace to him right now sounds like playing in Pittsburgh for a storied franchise, for a head coach that he has immense respect for in Mike Tomlin. That's love and peace, but he's also sounded like a guy that couldn't wait to be done and move on to the next chapter of his life, whatever that is. He wants to step out of the public eye. That seems very important to him, but that chip that he has now from the way last year ended, it's really important for him to go out on a positive note, not the way it ended with the Jets, not with the Jets telling him you're not wanted back here after he flew across the country and didn't appreciate the fact that he had to do that. I think he's looking for that one last dance that sends him off the way that he wants, so he can remember his football career with love, peace, and happiness.
You know, Grady, to use one of your lines, sneaky big news to me is Caleb Johnson, third-round pick, Iowa running back, because Coach Parcells used to say, like, quarterbacks are playing this plan with only so many hits to their body. He's going to be 42 years old. He does not want to get hit. And what does Arthur Smith like to do? Run the ball, play action. And if Caleb Johnson can get going and this offensive line play better, Aaron Rodgers could have a very good year. His skill set could work, but he's not going to sit back there and get pounded.
Elvis Costello once famously sang, "What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?" Maybe Aaron Rodgers will find the answer.